Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome to a live Manchester United news and transfer news show. I have been getting together and piecing every bit of information you guys need to know on Jim Ratcliffe, the potential sale and takeover. Why is it gone quiet? The news that came out 3 days ago that United were trying to sell off 30% of the club. What does that mean? Will the Glazers sell? I've got every bit of information in the last month that's come out about the Glazers selling Jim Ratcliffe. So news that came out yesterday about Jim Ratcliffe, the Glazers selling, what Jim Ratcliffe's plan is, when the Jim Ratcliffe bid's going to come in, because it's starting to heat up again, Jim Ratcliffe to Man United. I'm going to dive straight into that in a second because I've actually got my research structured out. I've got 6-7 bits of information to show you because I want to make this news information piled and all of that. But I've also want to show you this because I get asked this all the time. We always talk about Donny van de Beek, the long lost man, as well. So we're going to start the show quickly talking about Donny van de Beek. Then we're going to get right into the title of this video, the stuff going on with Jim Ratcliffe, Michael Knighton. Is the sale going to happen? I'm just going to tell you everything that is as of known by good sources around this United sale takeover. The latest news about Jim Ratcliffe preparing a bid. We'll get right into that, and then after that we'll discuss the game yesterday. I'll get your thoughts on the game yesterday. We'll discuss Martial Rashford. We'll discuss what Ten Hag said post-game. There's news on Cesco to United, Gakpo to United. Romano's come and spoke about Ronaldo, people coming in, people coming out in January. There's lots of news and topics to get into, so I quickly want to just talk about this, and then I really want to get right into the news because I've got so much to get through in terms of Jim Ratcliffe, the sale, and more. So please hit that like button, guys, if you're new, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new as well. Go live every single evening on the channel, watch along match reactions, match previews, and then shows like this. But as you can see on the screen, the first bit of news I want to talk about is Ten Hag. And he said that Donny van de Beek has to be fit. Obviously, that's been his disadvantage right now. He is now 2.5 years at United. He's had a pre-season, which was okay with us. His chances will come. I just wanted to get right into this because I get asked this all the time. Donny, he's saying, has to be fit. Donny's not playing because he's not fit at the moment. Ten Hag said, look, he's been here a while, that his chances are going to come out of pre-season. And I believe, and I want to make this clear, I believe Ten Hag will give Donny a chance despite rumours that he's leaving in January. Because Eriksen's legs are going to fall off. Eriksen cannot play 2 games a week. He needs to give Eriksen a rest. Eriksen's a 1 game a week player. Put Donny in that role. And Donny's the only one that can do Bruno and Eriksen's role. So Donny is going to be, I generally believe when Donny's fit, he will be heavily involved because I think he's pretty much all we've got in that sense as well. Both better than Glazers, but Ratcliffe ideal. I mean, the thing is, we're at the point where I just take any new owners over the Glazers. I mean, anyone we get in the new owner side, I think, will be better than the Glazers. And those Leches Glazers will never sell. Those Leches Glazers will never sell. Well, this is what we're going to talk about. So let's get into this because I'm sure you guys have clicked this not to hear me talk about Donny. You've clicked this to hear me talk about the Glazers. So I want to get the first thing up, which I saw. I thought it was a fake tweet at first, but then it was from the Muppeteers, which is obviously a decent source of information. So this is actually what came out yesterday, and they said apparently Sir Jim Ratcliffe is finalising his offer for the club to tempt the Glazers into selling Manchester United, and that patience is key. And this came out via the Muppeteers apparently, and that, you know, obviously Jim Ratcliffe to United has gone quite quiet. It was very heavy about 2 months ago, about a month and a half ago. Jim Ratcliffe to United was very, very heavy. And then it got a bit quiet. But do you know what I think is weird? And I don't know if you guys have thought this, and I've not said this before on the channel. But the Glazers haven't come out, and the people at United haven't come out and said United aren't for sale. Like, we know United isn't technically for sale because United haven't put the club up for sale or anything like that, so it's a hostile takeover, it's a hostile bid. But there's a lot of noise about the Glazers leaving Man United and Jim Ratcliffe buying United. But not once has the Glazers or a representative of the Glazers actually come out and cleared this out. Because normally, if there's rumours about a club being up for sale, if the rumours are getting quite heated, someone will come out in the media and say, spokesperson of blah, blah, someone related to blah, blah, blah said the club isn't for sale. Like, I generally think that the Glazers don't want to sell United, but I don't think the sale of Man United is something that won't happen. There is strong reports, and Alex Crook said this, that he's getting very strong indications the Glazers will be ready to sell in the next 2 seasons. And the first thing I think is really weird is, with all the noise around Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers selling, the Glazers have never come out, no one at Man United has ever come out and denied these rumours that the club could be for sale. No one said anything to deny the rumours. You know, they could come out and say the club's not for sale, la move on. Jim Ratcliffe can do what he wants, la moved on. Instead, the media are leaking the Glazers have set a sale price. The Glazers are trying to sell minority shares. The Glazers tried to give 30% to the Saudis. You know, while I'm going to be honest with you, Jim Ratcliffe is moving for United. We're going to get to what Jim Ratcliffe wants to do. While I'm going to be honest, I don't think the Glazers want to sell. They want to keep leeching money out of the club. We know from sources close to the Glazers, we did a video on this a while ago, but sources close to the Glazers said to us, because the Glazers don't have an emotional attachment to United, if they get an offer of £4 billion, which is a good offer on a business perspective, they'll sell the club. And, you know, we know Jim Ratcliffe, other people are looking at United. We know that the Glazers aren't denying the news that the club could be for sale. And we obviously know the information that Jim Ratcliffe is looking to buy United. And obviously, Jim Ratcliffe could be finalising an offer for Man United to tempt the Glazers into selling. Patience is key. So although the things on the Jim Ratcliffe side of things, they might seem like they've gone quiet, lots and lots are going on behind the scenes regarding Jim Ratcliffe. Remember, I don't know if you remember me saying this, but Jim Ratcliffe's apparently been making a plan about who would be his director of football, who he'd get in, Louis Campos. People are saying that Jim Ratcliffe is really serious about buying United. And obviously, very good sources like Mike Keegan did say the Glazers would sell for 3.75 billion, which is what Ratcliffe could afford. And that Ratcliffe obviously making the bid for Chelsea was a sign at United. And although you might be quiet now, Jim Ratcliffe announced his interest, tried to get the protest going, but Jim Ratcliffe's working behind the scenes, potentially on a takeover. And you've got to remember this. There's two things we can look at it. The Saudis and Newcastle. The Saudis obviously took over Newcastle last year. But there was noise about it 2 years ago where we thought the Saudis were going to get Newcastle. It was quite loud, and then it went really quiet, and we thought, that's it, let's start with Mike Ashley. And then it obviously happened again with the Saudis. They got Newcastle. Could be a situation with United of it's just gone quiet because they've won a few games, 10 Hag's, and they brought a few signings. Glazers are out lowered, blah, blah, blah. Glazers trying to get everything back in the swing of things. That's obviously one of the reasons it could go quiet with Ratcliffe. Or two, Ratcliffe made it clear he wants to buy United. The noise was there. It's in the support. It's gone quiet, actually preparing, organising how he's going to go about buying United. And then would he tempt the Glazers into selling? Now, as I've always said, guys, I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to give you misinformation. United is not for sale, but the Glazers will be willing to sell for $4 billion. Ratcliffe is preparing to buy United. Ratcliffe, to this day, is still organising things behind the scenes. It's very quiet. I always say this when things are happening in football. There's a loud period around United where, we've got, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do this. Then there's a quiet period where you go, are they doing anything that's gone quiet? What's going on? And then there will probably be a loud period again where Jim Ratcliffe has gone and done something. Because Jim Ratcliffe isn't going to come out publicly and say he wants to buy United, then just shut up and be quiet for ages. Let's be honest. Why would he do that? He makes himself look like a twat. Jim Ratcliffe went public that he wants to buy United because he's serious about doing it. So he's gone public. He's made that interest known to the Glazers know. And the reason Jim Ratcliffe went public about wanting to buy United, the reason he made this interest public was because he wanted the Glazers to know that he was interested in buying the club, to see if the Glazers would actually put it for sale or give him a price. The Glazers have obviously had meetings about it, which we're going to get into. I've got some really good quotes from these meetings in a sec. But obviously they hadn't put it for sale. So the Jim Ratcliffe's now going about how he would do the hostile bid and the hostile takeover and all these kind of interesting things as well. It's going to happen, I believe it, I have faith. Well, I think there's a strong chance it will happen in the next 2 years. I think if it is going to happen, it could happen soon. And I'm going to get into why I believe there's a strong chance it will happen in a bit. And I think if Ratcliffe offers 5-6 bill, then the Glazers simply can't refuse deals. If Ratcliffe offered 5-6 bill, they would not turn it down. They would not turn it down. And there is a rumour that the Glazers are selling to the club of Dubai as well that do have the money for United. However, the difference between Ratcliffe and the club of Dubai as well, the club of Dubai have unlimited money and they have more money than Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe is the one that's gone public with his interest to buy Man United. 3 things to sort out: debt, capital investment, and the money in the Glazers' pocket as well. And obviously, when Glazers sell our club, everyone get hashtag Glazers out in the chat. Everyone get Glazers out in the chat. I will get into your chats in just a second, but I want to get into the next piece of information I want to show you because I want to get everything on the chat. So obviously, Laurie Whitwell, we all know who Laurie Whitwell is. He's a very, very reliable journalist, and I'm going to get every bit of information up for you guys so you can actually see it. Oh, for fuck's sake. So let me... Laurie Whitwell... No. Well, Laurie Whitwell... It's not coming up. Laurie Whitwell obviously spoke about the Glazers selling a minority stake in Manchester United, and Avron and Joe are selling minority stakes in United. United wouldn't be selling minority stakes, unless they potentially could be looking for someone to go. But, I mean, obviously, this was the other bit of information that came out a month ago. that Jim Ratcliffe does not hide his desire to buy Manchester United, whose sale price has been set at €4 billion. So this was obviously said by decent sources that the sale price of United is €4 billion, and obviously English sources, good English journalists, have said it would take £3.75 billion to buy Manchester United. So that's €4 billion. So there is the price coming out. And I think what's weird is a couple of weeks after Jim Ratcliffe says he wants to buy United, the Glazers go dead quiet. The Glazers don't deny anything. And then information and news comes out about how much it would even cost Jim Ratcliffe to buy United. Not only are the Glazers sitting here denying and everything, not saying anything about Jim Ratcliffe wanting to buy United, but actually information is being leaked about how much it would cost Jim Ratcliffe to buy United. And I think that's weird. Surely, if you're not interested at all in selling United, you Glazers will come out and go, look, United's not for sale. Do what you want, Jim. Fuck off. United's not for sale. But instead, reports are coming out about potentially a price tag for United, which makes me think that there's something more reliable there. And if the share value drops, this could indicate the Glazers into selling sooner rather than later, of course, as Diego said as well. And hashtag Glazers out in the chat. But let's get into the next story as well. So this was interesting, and this came out the other day, and I didn't really cover this on my channel the other day because I wanted to save this for a video dedicated to everything about the Glazers and the potential sale of United. But the Saudi Arabia Public Investments Fund, PIF, were offered 30% of United for $700 million before buying Newcastle. So my first thought is this has come out from The Athletic, an absolutely brilliant source of information. Tier 1, they don't say things for clicks because obviously you pay a monthly subscription for it. They don't need clicks. The Athletic's fantastic. And they are saying Saudi Arabia were offered, the people that bought Newcastle were offered 30% of United for $700 million. Now, my first thought process is, well, that means 700 million times 3, 2.1 billion, and a bit more on. You're saying that the value of United then would be about 2.2, 2.3 billion. If this was the case, would be valued at 3.75 billion. So I'm thinking 30% of the 700 million. That don't seem quite right. But other than that, it's come from The Athletic. It's got a lot of reliable sources saying the Glazers are looking to sell bits of United because they actually don't have the finances to run the club. And I did a video about 5 things it would take to get the Glazers out of United. And I can't remember the 5 things I said, but I said the first thing that could really get the Glazers out of United is they don't have the money to keep up with the Premier League. If you look at all the leagues in the world, and you look at the amount of money in the Premier League, I mean, West Ham is spending big. Leicester in the past have spent big. Wolves spend a fair bit of money. Aston Villa are spending big money. Actually, I'm going to get this quickly up on the screen as well. But what I wanted to say was, a lot of teams in the Premier League are spending big money. And the Glazers know if they want to keep up with the pace of the Premier League, they got to spend big money. The Premier League, and there was a chart, and they showed it in a live stream before, but the Premier League spends like 10 times more than all of the top 5 leagues. It's crazy. Like the Newcastle, Villa have more money than, 4th and 3rd place teams in La Liga and Serie A, because the Premier League is just that big. Look at the money City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea spend. Look at the money at some of the big teams out of the Big Six spend. And there was a sort of a report from Laurie Whitwell and The Athletic that the Glazers almost can't afford to keep up with this. The Glazers have got to sell off a bit of Man United to raise funds to keep up with the Premier League because they don't have the money to do that, or they don't want to invest the money to do that, would probably be a more appropriate way of saying it. And obviously, Joe and Avram have been trying to sell off a minor stake to raise some monies. Apparently they offered Saudi Arabia 30% of United, but no power. This is all signs. And I'm going to explain what this means, why this is a positive thing. The fact that our owners are trying to sell off, not the whole club, they're not trying to sell the club, but the fact that they're trying to sell off stakes of the club to raise money indicates that there is issues there where they can't really afford to run it. And there are going to be pressures there that they might not be able to run the club. And I think we're in a period where we're all fed up with the Glazers. The Glazers out has gone very high. They're trying to sell bits of the club to raise money because they spent more money than they wanted in the summer. The protests are affecting them. The protests, we need to keep them up, guys. They've got to sell bits of the club. Jim Ratcliffe has come public. He wants to buy United, someone that has the money to buy United. We're in a very transitional period in football where, just the Premier League itself is spending so much money. How are we going to keep up? I sit here and think the Glazers could be in a position where they could be almost forced into selling with the way football's moving. And as I've said, I don't think the Glazers want to sell Manchester United because they wouldn't have brought Anthony and Casemiro in the summer. They brought that to shut us up about the Jim Ratcliffe movement. Jim Ratcliffe has rattled the Glazers. It's absolutely rattled the Glazers because we weren't going to spend any money in the summer. Remember this. We weren't. We were going to spend hardly any money in the summer. This summer, the owners were more than willing to throw Erik ten Hag under the bus. They were more than willing to just bring in Rabia and Arnautovic. They weren't bothered about bringing this person in or bringing this person in or bringing this person in. Our owners weren't in the slightest bit bothered about what would be best for the club. And then Jim Ratcliffe comes out and he's like, nah, I want to buy United. And we go from Rabiot to Casemiro and Arnautovic to Antony. And that indicated that the Glazers obviously didn't want to sell, but that indicated that the Glazers had to do something because they were in a position where they could have to sell and the pressure was getting to them. And that always suggested to me that the protest worked. But as you can see on your screen, this was a story diving back a month ago that I want to get into because I think this shows the first real sign that, while the Glazers don't want to sell, I think if Jim Ratcliffe has a bid, they probably could sell. So going back to everything, if you just joined the live stream, there's reports that Jim Ratcliffe is getting stuff ready behind the scenes very quietly. We've got to be patient. He's going to make a bid very soon. There's obviously reports about Jim Ratcliffe wanting to bring Luis Campos in. He's very interested in buying United. Although it goes quiet, he's still preparing things to buy United as a hostile takeover. There's obviously information that came out from inside sources close to the Glazers, revealed that the Glazers would sell the club for £3.75 billion, and the inside sources close to the Glazers also revealed, because the Glazers don't have an emotional attachment to United, that if Jim Ratcliffe made an offer that would benefit them business-wise, they would be open to selling the club. But we know the Glazers don't want to sell the club because, obviously, as you can see with the report on the screen, multiple sources have told how there are significant differences between the six Glazers in terms of their ongoing interest and commitment to United. Many believe Joel Glazer is the one whose resolve needs to be broken in order for the club to be sold. So this is interesting. And if you don't know what this means, members of the Glazer family want to sell United. The problem is Joel, the ringleader of the Glazer ownership, doesn't. And, Joel will only sell United if it's such a good offer that he can pocket so much money. And it's annoying that Joel doesn't want to sell United, but when you can get your £30 million a year out in dividends in this club and do absolutely fuck all, Joel Glazer's living his best life, the ugly muppet. But this is interesting because I want to see, multiple sources have told how there are significant differences between the six Glazers in terms of ongoing interest and commitment to Manchester United. Now, this is massive. It's come out from The Athletic. There has been board meetings. So when we lost to Brentford, when Jim Ratcliffe came out that he wanted to buy United, there were board meetings going on at Man United between the Glazers. And this here reveals there was actually a meeting between the Glazers family about selling United. The Glazer family in the last year have been having meetings about potentially selling United. It's been a divide between the families. Some think it's time to sell United. Others, unfortunately, Joel, do not want to sell United. But for the first time in the 17-odd year Glazer ownership, this is the year where actually the Glazer family have got together and really discussed maybe selling United. This is the year where things seem to be changing for the Glazer family. They've been letting this club rot for so long that people now want to buy the club. So if they do sell the club, it's possible because there's a buyer there. The ship is just going boo, boo, boo. They're going to have to spend more and more money because of the way they're running the club unsustainably. Transfers, they're going to have to spend more and more money. The Premier League, more money's in football, more pressures on the Glazers. Everything's getting to them where, as Alex Crook said, if they're going to sell, it could be in the next 2 years. As the Telegraph said, there's strong indications they're going to sell in the next 2 years. And this is the year where it's been a turning point in getting the Glazers out. The Super League was when we thought it was our chance and they recovered from the Super League. But this has been the year where, I think, and one big thing about Rangnick was, I think he exposed everything in a sense of Rangnick was here and he exposed things. And I think Rangnick coming in and exposing things about the Glazers really drove the fans a movement, because I think Ollie was the scapegoat. I think last year there was a lot of anger going on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. A lot of people turning on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. A lot of fans going, Ollie out, Ollie the Wally, Ollie out. Everyone was getting very, very frustrated with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this time last year. And then when Ollie got sacked and Rangnick came in, and then we realised, wow, Rangnick's, not doing much with this team. There's lots of issues with the players. Then when we realised that these Man United players are a disgrace, Man United is a massive mess at the moment. When we actually sat down and we realised all these things, that the club is a mess, it doesn't matter who's the manager, was still a mess. it's still shit. Like when we sat and actually as a fan base realised all these things, that sacking out Ollie doesn't solve our problems, Rangnick's not changing anything, all the reports came out, and then Rangnick sat down and said, look, you know, there's issues at the club, there's issues all around the club, 10 out, 10 in, but the club needs to change. It's not just about a new manager, it's not just about putting new players in. You know, Rangnick, said it was about, you know, changing things above, and Rangnick then got sacked for that. And I think this year was a big turning point, because I've always said I think this was the year every United fan came united. Let's get the Glazers out. You know, everyone turned on Moisey, then everyone turned on Van Gaal, then everyone turned on Mourinho, then everyone turned on Ollie, but no one turned on Rangnick. We started to turn on the players, but actually that got us united, and we turned on the owners. And since Ten Hag's come in, no one's turning on Ten Hag unless they're a fucking idiot. Everyone's like, this is a new manager. It doesn't matter if there's Pep. It doesn't matter if Sir Alex Ferguson was back. No one's going to succeed under this ownership. And us as a fan base came united and were Glazers out. And this is really the first year where I think Glazers out has just been the full hatred of the fan base. It's not been people turning on the manager and certain sections turning on Glazers. This has been the year where everyone as a United fan base has come together and been Glazers out and been for Glazers out. And that is why there's meetings about the Glazers selling United, because this is the year that the pressure's really got to the Glazers, where we've actually had to force the Glazers into spending because they were in a poor bin. The Glazers have, you know, got the movement so bad that after the Super League, they had to spend money when they didn't want to. Because of Jim Ratcliffe going public, they had to spend money when they didn't want to the last 2 summers. You know, we've really got the Glazers rattled. They're having meetings about selling. And I've always said, Jim Ratcliffe is about to put a bid in for United. Jim Ratcliffe is about to make an attempt to buy United. Now, I don't know if his attempt is going to be successful or not, but the sources are saying if his bid is over 3.75 billion, the board will sell. The Glazers will sell. Now, obviously, it's very quiet for now, but I do expect in the coming months this to definitely heat up. I do expect there to be a bid. And I think when there's a bid, depending on the price of the bid, we will either go, wow, the Glazers are going to sell because this is an unbelievable bid from Jim Ratcliffe, and the Glazers will finally go, or no, the Glazers aren't going to accept this bid and they want more. Because I don't know if Jim Ratcliffe really has the money that would tempt the Glazers to sell United, but he is preparing something behind the scenes. He is making a plan. He is desperate to buy United. The question is, will the Glazers sell? And although I don't think they want to sell, we know that if a bid is of a certain price, they will sell. And I think, you know, we just got to be quiet, wait behind the scenes, see what happens. I don't think they will sell yet. I don't think they want to sell, but I think anything is possible. The fact that they've not come out and publicly denied the rumours, the fact that, you know, there is divides in the Glazer family, the fact that there is meetings, the fact that there is significant pressure, the fact that their Glazers are sold a minor stake, the fact that they're trying to sell part of the club. They're not trying to sell their control of the club, but they're trying to sell. They try to sell 30% of the club, but say they have full control. They're not trying to sell the control of the club. They want the control of the club, but they're trying to sell what I would say certain aspects of Manchester United. And if we scroll down into the next thing, and this was from Tom McDermott, who's a very, very good journalist, and this came out not long ago here. If I get this bit of information out here for you guys, and I will get into the live chat in just a second, guys, but Tom McDermott said the Glazer family conducted the first rounds of talks via legal representatives on Tuesday. Initial discussion was regarding a full sale, not minority. And Tom McDermott, who's a very, very good journalist, said that the Glazers have had discussions about the full sale of Manchester United. And obviously not much has come out since then, but people saying, look, it's going to be quiet, but it's going to heat up. But the fact that the owners are actually discussing about potentially the full sale of Manchester United is massive. I think that is absolutely massive, because there's definitely stuff going on potentially about selling United as well. I do want to scroll down and get into the live chat, but I want to just get into all this news because today's video is really an update on what's going on, but I do also want to dive into the live chat and all of that as well. Ralph pointed out that some of the contracts were running down. The board would have recouped some money by selling some of the players. We let go for free if the contracts were well taken care of. Exactly. And people like the Glazers will sell their mother for the right price. Honestly, that's a good way of putting it as well. And Phil Jones on $5 million a year and he hasn't played for 5 years. Honestly, it's an absolute disgrace as well. And the only one that actually turned on Ollie was the only one I actually turned on was Ollie Lol, and was the second week before he was sacked. Loved LBG. I mean, I think Ollie was the manager that just broke this club. I think we just thought we need to get Ollie out. This is so bad. We brought Ronaldo in. What's going on? And then we realised once Ollie was sacked, while Ollie did cause problems and did cause a divide in the dressing room, we can't deny that Ollie wasn't the biggest bad man at United as well. And obviously, as Gaz says, guys, we've got over 300 watching. So I am going to get into the next story. So about the Glazers selling and what I thought was really interesting that came out as well. So make sure you smash that like button if you're new. And of course, subscribe down below, guys, if you are new. I go live every single evening on the channel around 6:30 to 7:30 every single evening UK time. Occasionally I do 9 p.m. live streams. Occasionally I do 6 p.m. live streams, depending on what I'm doing on the day. But normally I live around the 7 p.m. mark UK time every single evening. I also do watch-alongs to every United match. I do match reactions after, and then I do short video updates as well. So make sure you're subscribed as well. And more potential bidders may trigger a sale of controlling shares, says Diego. And I'm glad Ollie caused a divide. Otherwise, the fan base would be devices. Otherwise, the fan base would still be divided, says Twist. Interesting. And Ollie got results with crap players. He did. But it doesn't matter which manager we have. As long as the Glazers are there, they will screw every manager we have and tie their hands, says Jim. Absolutely spot on. So let's continue with the news on the Glazer sale. So the Glazer family conducted the first round of talks via legal representatives on Tuesday. This was back in August, regarding the full sale. So a very reliable journalist said the Glazers did speak about the full sale of United. They had talked regarding the full sale of Manchester United, and around 3.75 billion would be enough to prize the Glazer family from United, according to well-placed sources saying the Glazers would sell for a certain amount of money. And we do know this, and this was from the brilliant Laurie Whitwell, tier 1 source. And this is what Laurie Whitwell said again, guys, which I think is massive. And a lot of you might not understand this, but Laurie Whitwell said that Abraham Glazer sold 70 million of stock in March 2021, while Kevin and Ed sold shares equating to 137 million in October last year. So you've got to remember that United have been selling shares to the club, trying to bring in money for a while. And they were, so I believe sources that they were trying to sell shares this year, and United are trying to sell more shares of the club this year. So the Glazers are owning less and less of United as things stand. But it was also said by Laurie Whitwell that Ten Hag is keen to get to the next stage of his rebuilds, but funds are expected to be very tight when the winter market opens. Joel Glazer, Arnold and Murta are focused firmly on summer 2023 to significantly add to the squad. So we then spoke about, obviously, what's going on right now, and that Joel Glazer has basically said funds are tight. But I want to get into this story, which is really what prompted me to kind of talk about this in the video. But it was obviously what Samuel Luckhurst said, that basically Man United are not commenting on Sir Jim Ratcliffe's desire to buy United from the Glazer family. And I think the fact that United aren't commenting on it means that it could be possible. You know, we haven't, I'm not saying that the Glazers are going to sell, and I'm not saying that Jim Ratcliffe's going to buy United, but what I am saying is we know Jim Ratcliffe is quietly behind the scenes preparing things to buy United. Jim Ratcliffe wants to buy United. Jim Ratcliffe's getting things ready behind the scenes to buy United, but United aren't commenting on this. All the speculation, all the noise about Jim Ratcliffe to United, and United themselves aren't commenting on it. They're not coming out and denying it. So for me, that always gives me a strong indication that actually they're not coming out, they're not denying it. You know, there could be a possibility. There could be a strong possibility that they could sell, because why aren't they denying it? But I think if they were going to sell, it'd be for money. And I'm always going to say this, and I don't want to repeat myself too much. If the Glazers sell United, it's because Jim Ratcliffe gives them a very good offer. They will sell United if it's going to benefit them financially in a big way. That's what will make the Glazers sell United, if they can get enough money in. It's about, they don't want to sell, but if a big offer comes in from Jim Ratcliffe where it financially benefits them to sell the club, it helps them on the business side, they will sell. Things are quiet. Jim's going to make his offer. We have to see what happens as well. Jim says, lovely info you're presenting, Alice. I'm watching from Brisbane, Australia, as I'm subscribed to your channel for a long time, but great content as always. Thanks, Jim. It means a lot as well. And yes, some of this news is old. The reason I got into the new news at the beginning of the video, I spoke about the news that came out yesterday and last week at the beginning of the video, and now I'm getting into the old news because I'm trying to link it all together. I wanted to do a video where I get into the new news, then I get into the old news, and I say, this is what's been said about the Glazers. I wanted to inform you in everything going on around the Glazers United. That's why this right on your screen here is old news, but the news at the beginning was new news, wasn't it, as well? Then I will get the news on the beginning up for those who weren't here at the beginning. If you want to know what was reportedly said, was this. So if I can get this up on my screen here, I just thought I would inform you on everything that's happening, because obviously I've done a few videos about the Glazers selling, but Apparently, it was said by the Muppeteers, who decent source, that Jim Ratcliffe is finalising his offer for the club to tempt Glazers into selling United, and that Jim Ratcliffe is finalising his offer. We've got to be patient and see what happens. That is essentially the new news as well. Please smash the like button, guys, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new, and share the video. Remember, live every single evening on the channel, keeping you guys up to date on all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more. So you don't want to miss out as well. And the economic situation globally not helping as well. And United will win nothing until the Glazers are gone. And I've always said this, and as Daniel says, keep smashing the likes as well. I was about to say love the Glazers. I don't love the Glazers. I love Man United. I love Erik ten Hag. That's what I love. It's Erik ten Hag, the bald man, the legend. But I've always said, I think we could have Pep Guardiola. I think we could have Klopp. I think we could have any manager in the world at this club. And I just think right now, they wouldn't win the Premier League this season. They wouldn't win the Champions League this season. One, because we're not in the Champions League. They wouldn't. You know, Pep, would he get us top 4 this season? Potentially. But Pep barely got top 4 in his first season with Man City. I think he got it on goal difference because we fucking went and lost to West Ham or something. When I remember Martial, it was the last game at Upton Park. Martial scored 2 goals, winning the game 2-1. We lost 3-2. That meant that Man City got top 4 in Pep's first season. I'm pretty sure that was it. Was that it? Pep didn't get top 4 in his first season at City, but a lot of people forget this. If we come sixth this season, do not be Ten Hag out. Okay? If we come sixth this season, do not be Ten Hag out, because you've got to look at it. Klopp came 7th in his first season at Liverpool, and hopefully he comes 7th in his 7th season at Liverpool. But Klopp came 7th. Pep got top 4 because Van Gaal was shit and we bottled it and everything, you know? But Pep and Klopp didn't come into City and Liverpool and play like they're playing now. Well, Klopp playing a bit like he's playing now because they're playing shit Liverpool. But Pep, you know, the Pep of the last 3 years was not like that in his first year at Man City. He was miles off it because he didn't have the players in. The big difference between Pep and Ten Hag is, while Pep didn't have the players in he wanted and was at the start of the rebuild, which is incredibly difficult, Pep works for a fantastic club in the sense of fantastic owners, strong ambition. They have owners that are actually going to invest in the club and do what's best for Man City. Blah, 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 blah. Man City's owners are fucking brilliant. I'm a fucking jealous prick. Fuck you, Man City. Can we swap owners? That's my thought process. But, you know, Ten Hag's at the beginning of the rebuild like Pep, but unfortunately, it's going to be even harder for Ten Hag because Pep had a brilliant support system, board, and structure around him. Ten Hag hasn't. And Ten Hag himself, and I've always said this, you've got to remember, is actually doing things to try and change that structure. Why I love Ten Hag so much, and one of the things I really do love about Erik ten Hag is he's actively trying to change the structure of United. Ten Hag said to do, and we spoke about this in the video the other day, Ten Hag came out and said, do not be handing out any new contracts without my permission. Under every single manager in the past, the United board would just hand out contracts to try and increase the value of players. They wouldn't go to Ten Hag, they wouldn't go to Ollie, they wouldn't go to Mourinho, they wouldn't go to Van Gaal. They would just hand out a contract. Phil Jones, Ollie's not playing, you haven't played in ages, here's a 5-year new contract, boom. Eric Bailly, Ollie's not playing you, here's a 5-year new contract, boom, because you're going to be a free agent, boom, boom, boom. Pretty sure we offered fucking Lingard a contract and Pogba a contract and all of that. We don't want anyone going on a free contract, boom, contract, boom, contract, boom. That is what we've been doing, handing out contracts left, right, and centre. And Erik ten Hag was like, no, 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 you are not giving out contract at all unless they deserve it. No, I want to create, and Erik ten Hag said this, I want to create a culture at Manchester United where contracts are hard to come by. Erik ten Hag said he wants to create a culture where contracts at United are hard to come by. It's not easy to go out there and just get a contract like boom at Manchester United. That's what Erik ten Hag said. He wants to make it difficult. He wants to make contracts hard to come by. You've got to work hard for it. He said a club like Man United, you should get a contract because, my God, you deserve it. Not get a contract because, oh, we want to get a bit of money for you. That's the first thing Erik ten Hag's been working to change. The second thing is Erik ten Hag made it clear, if it's not his target, he doesn't want the board's alternatives. Under Ollie, we couldn't get Sancho, so we got Ahmed and Pelestri, who Ollie clearly didn't want. Under Ollie, he couldn't get Grealish, so we got Donny, who Ollie clearly didn't want. They said, we can't get Anthony, we can't afford Anthony. Dybala on a free. Ten Hag said no. Dembele on a free at the time. Ten Hag said no. He said Anthony and only Anthony. I don't want anyone else. And then he suggested Gakpo potentially, but only if you can't get Anthony. The board were then forced into getting Anthony. You know, we've got to remember this is a long rebuild process for Ten Hag. It's a long change for Ten Hag. But what I always say is he's actually trying to change the structure of this club as much as he can. He doesn't have much power, Ten Hag. He's in a club of a poor structure. But what I will say about Ten Hag is he's saying, do not give out contracts without asking me. I'm going to choose if they deserve a contract or not. Do not be buying a player unless it's my first choice. I'm not taking your alternatives. So in the past, where United have handed out contracts and, you know, you got Ollie some alternatives that wasn't going to use, Ten Hag wants to create a culture where you only get a contract if Man United if you deserve it. We're not giving you contracts so the board can profit more of you. And B, he wants to create a culture where I'm only going to bring in players I want, because Ten Hag said to the United board, when you sign players that you don't really want just for the sake of signing a player and you don't play them, it creates toxicity, it creates a mess. We're only signing players I want at this club to avoid mistakes. And if you look at Ten Hag signings, I think Martinez has been absolutely incredible. I think Eriksen on a free has been absolutely incredible. I think Anthony's really, really growing. And we will talk about Anthony in a second in this video because I've been incredibly impressed with Anthony. And we will talk about Malacia, who was decent by the last 2 games. You know, we will talk about Erik Ten Hag signings. Casemiro looked very solid the other day. You know, if you know football, you know Casemiro had a good game the other day. But if you really think about it, Erik Ten Hag is trying to change the culture of United. He knows it's a long rebuild. He might come 6th this season. Do not turn on Ten Hag if he becomes 6th this season. It's a rebuild. It's a process. It's not going to be easy. But Ten Hag is changing the culture at United. He's trying to change the structure. He's doing what he can. You know, all we can do is pray and hope the Glazers leave and we get a good board in. But you know, Ten Hag, give him three seasons. He's got the mentality. He's coaching players. We do see players improving. Just if we finish 6th this season, is that Ten Hag out? No, because realistically, I predicted us to finish 6th because I think there's 5 teams with a better squad than us who have a better, more ambitious board. It's also, you know, Ten Hag's not just got to work with the players. He's not just got to play a style of football that suits the players because he can't play Ten Hag ball yet because he hasn't got the players in that he wants. Ten Hag's got to work with players that are known for throwing every single manager under the bus, players that are known for not always turning up. You know, Ten Hag's got to work with all of this. So do not turn on Ten Hag. You know, let's appreciate what Ten Hag's doing. Give him a few years. And any energy and negative energy you have towards Ten Hag, I urge you guys to switch this negativity towards the Glazers. Any negativity, switch it towards the Glazers. And I do want to get into what really annoyed me today about Chelsea and United in a second as well. Ten Hag will be gone if we get a new owner. I don't think he will be, because if I owned Man United, I would be back in Ten Hag. And I'm not saying that I'd be the best owner of United and I'm the best football person in the world, but as someone that supports United and wants what I would believe would be best for Manchester United, if I had the money and I owned Manchester United, I'd be like, right, we're going to pump money into Ten Hag. I'm going to believe in this guy. If United had got Poch in, maybe I'd have sacked him because I wouldn't fully believe in Poch. But no, I think any good owner would keep Ten Hag as well. And guys, please do smash that like button and of course subscribe down below. I think Ten Hag is a good coach, but I'm not convinced on his tactics. He's a bit naive. Does he live in the Ajax world? This is the PL. Results will judge him in the end, says Story. It's a good point there, Story. I get why you say that, but remember, the Ten Hag's tactics at the moment isn't the style of football he wants to play. He wants to play attacking football, he can't, so he's having to adapt it. And Erik Ten Hag is trying to change the culture and apply philosophy. Ten Hag defo stays, new owners or not, 100%. And it's going to take a long time to change the culture and the philosophy at United, but that is 100% what Ten Hag's going to do. And as Jim said, I back Ten Hag all the way, even if results don't go away this season. Success takes time and patience. If the Glazers sell soon, success won't be far away. Patience is key. Absolutely spot on there by Jim as well. But let's push for 52,000 subscribers, guys. If you're watching right now and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football, because I go live every single evening on the channel, keeping you guys up to date on all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more as well. And I've lots to talk about as well. I do want to talk about Anthony. I do want to talk about certain Manchester United players. I do want to get into some news, some transfer news. But obviously, we spoke about the Glazers at the beginning of the video. And if you just joined the video or the live stream, I'd recommend scrolling back to the beginning if you specifically want news on the Glazers, because we're gonna obviously talk about other stuff as well. We're gonna talk about Cody Gakpo to Manchester United. And I saw a bit of a stat for you guys. If I can fucking refresh. I saw a bit of a stat for you guys here. So if I can find it. Here we go. The only people with 22 goal contributions this season are Erling Haaland and Cody Gakpo. Now, don't get me wrong. One's playing in the area division. He's played more minutes. But I just thought I'd use that as an example of we are going to talk about Cody Gakpo, the transfer rumours. Erik Ten Hag wants Cody Gakpo. Ten Hag wants Gakpo in January. The only way, and I will tell you this now, and I'm going to repeat this for everything you want to know on Cody Gakpo. Fabrizio Romano said Cody Gakpo to United in January is definitely something that could happen, because Cody Gakpo has personal terms agreed with United. Gakpo could go to United. He's got personal terms agreed with United. La-di-la-di-la-di-la-di-la. PSV will sell. Gakpo will come. The question is, will United buy? Will United spend the money in January to bring Gakpo in? Because if they do, they will get Gakpo. The big question is, will the Glazers spend money in January? Will United spend money in January? Every indication that from a reliable source has said no, the board won't spend in January. So Ten Hag wants Gakpo. Gakpo wants to come, and they will sell us Gakpo in January. But the only way it can happen is if the board spend money. The board don't want to spend money in January. However, if Ronaldo leaves, if there's some injuries, if there's some pressure on United, if this Jim Ratcliffe makes a big move again in January, it's possible. Right now, I'm not confident of us buying anyone in January. I think it depends on if Ronaldo leaves or not, if someone leaves or not. But that is what I wanted to get into regarding if Cody Gakpo comes to United or not as well. And the most missed chance is when we missed the opportunity to sign Guardiola. I mean, it's a missed chance because we stopped and got. It would have been nice to stop and go into City. Gakpo, let's go for 300 likes, guys. So, of course, please do smash that like button and subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I love Man United, but these owners need to leave the club. This is not Saka. This is football. Go home, Glazers, 100%. And them Glazers need to go. The only way we can get back to the top, the only way we can get back to where we need to be is if the Glazers, leave United. That's the only way we can get back because they're not changing the board. They're not changing anything. They're not spending in January. We need, the Glazers to go. This is what I wanted to get up quickly because this has really pissed me off. This is really shitty. This just came out today. Anti-Mitten. Chelsea versus Manchester United is now rescheduled and confirmed for 5:30 p.m. on the 22nd of October. Police want to cut Man United allocation from 2,994 to 1,500. Man United objected, now at 2,370. Man U feel this is unjust as tickets are already allocated. Now, look, that might sound like waffle, but this is fucking disgraceful. Basically, there was basically 3,000 away tickets, and they wanted to half it to 1,500. Man United got annoyed, saying all the tickets have been allocated. How can you strip tickets from people? It's now at 2,370 because of police cuts, because police want to cut it and all of that. And this has annoyed me. We have to have less away support at Stamford Bridge because of some crap policing. They've also rescheduled it for 2 days after our last match, so we've got no rest period. Chelsea got a much easier rest period. It's just really annoyed me, this. It's really, really annoyed me. I just think, they've absolutely trying to square the fans here. I think, the Premier League don't think about the fans. And I want to get this rant off my chest. Rescheduling games. The amount of times I've got tickets for a game and then they've changed it from a Saturday to a Sunday and I have to change your hotel, you have to change your train. Rescheduling games all the time. Cancelling games because of the Queen. People didn't get their money back. I get it's out of respect, but you know what I mean. It really bugs me just how they don't think about the fans. I don't think they think about the fans one bit. Rescheduling things, changing things, doing things here and there, la-di-la-di-la, cutting allocation even though fans have already bought tickets. I don't like that the Premier League are doing this. And I don't think the Premier League should be doing this. And I think they're absolutely screwing over the fans. And it really annoys me. Just no respect to the fans here whatsoever. Absolutely just screwing them over yet again as well. Gerard says Ten Hag needs at least 3 years and there will be difficult days trying to get us challenged for Premier League titles. I do agree with you here, Gerard. It will be difficult because you've got Man City, you've got Arsenal coming up, you've got Spurs coming up as well. I'd be happy with Gakpo and Cesco. Cesco is linked to United actually. Do you want me to get the Sesco news up? Because it's not from the best source in the world. It is from Graham Bailey, who I don't think is a very good journalist. But he did speak about United going in for Sesco next summer. He spoke about United going all in for Benjamin Cesco next summer. So if I actually get my screen up for you guys here, this is the transfer news that came out regarding Cesco. So let me get this up because it's quite interesting. I think some of you guys find this quite interesting. Manchester United, Chelsea and Bayern Munich are among a number of top European clubs that are considering offers for RB Leipzig to sign Benjamin Cesco next summer before he's even played for them. Leipzig want a fee of 60 million euros. So he's not even properly played for them. But United are interested in going for him next summer. He's obviously a player that United are really interested in. But I think, while we're interested in Cesco, I think Gakpo would be the one we go for, just considering that he's actually playing more and doing more. But the other thing that was said, and I'll get this up here so you can see as well, is that Manchester United scouts are understood to be very impressed with Benjamin Cesco. Cristiano Ronaldo is almost certain to leave in 2023, and Cesco remains a long-term target for the club. I'm not the best source in the world, but obviously United do have interest in Cesco. And here's someone that could come in after Ronaldo as well. I know it's a done deal with the Rue connection. Obviously, yeah, talking back at Gakpo, because Rue Van Nistelrooy has a great connection with United, it will be very easy to get Gakpo to United because of the whole Rue Van Nistelrooy situation as well. We need to sell Phil Jones and Tom Heaton in January. We need Maguire and Fred out as well. I mean, the thing is, you can say we need to sell this player and this player in January, and 100% I agree. That we need to sell this player in January, but we can't actually sell Phil Jones, Maguire, and everyone in January because we've got a game every 3 days in January. Unfortunately, there's going to be injury after injury after injury after injury. You know, it's a difficult situation if we sold all players in January. But Fred and Maguire and Phil Jones and Tom Heaton, they might appear useless. But it's easier said than done selling them in January. Do I think Man United will sign a striker in January? Says Daniel. Only if Ronaldo leaves. And I can't tell if Ronaldo's going to leave or not because I'll get the news up here about Ronaldo leaving as well from Rob Dawson of ESPN. 1 minute, Ronaldo's leaving in January and Ten Hag wants Ronaldo to leave. And the next minute it's coming out that Ronaldo won't leave in January, blah-de-la-de-la-de-la-de-la. So Ten Hag is understanding of Ronaldo's situation but would be reluctant to let him leave in January. He has already been told it's highly unlikely that there will be any money to spend until next summer, reducing the possibility that a replacement can be found. So this is obviously what came out. Ten Hag's understanding of the Ronaldo situation, but he would be reluctant to let him leave in January. He's already been told it's highly unlikely there will be money to spend until next summer. So what I'm sensing around the Ronaldo situation and around the Man United situation and all of that is that we know a week ago Ten Hag would be willing to let Ronaldo go. A week ago, Ten Hag was willing to let Ronaldo go. He said, I don't want to ruin your career. I don't want you to be sitting here on the bench. Look, if you want to go, you can go. This is what was going on regarding Ten Hag. If you want to go Ronaldo, you can go. La-di-la-di-la. Ten Hag seemed that he'd be fine letting Ronaldo go. La-di-la-di-la. Ten Hag wanted Gakpo in January. La-di-la-di-la. Board have come out and said no money in January. Got to wait till the summer. Ten Hag probably goes, well, I can't lose Ronaldo if I can't get a replacement in. I think Ten Hag would happily let Ronaldo go in January if he could get Gakpo and some kind of replacement in because we'll be very thin for attackers, especially with the injury record of our front three, that if we do lose Ronaldo, we're very thin in attack. We're very thin in attacking options. So I think because after the World Cup, what we're doing, we're playing 3 games a week after the World Cup. Absolutely crazy the amount of Man United playing after the World Cup. You know, Ten Hag won't want to sell anyone. La-di-la-di-la. So I think although there's reports that Ten Hag wants to sell Ronaldo, although there's reports that Ten Hag would be open to selling Ronaldo, although there's all these reports going around about Ten Hag wanting to sell Ronaldo, I believe this report from Rob Dawson of, because there's unlikely to be money to spend in January, I don't think Ronaldo will leave. And I don't think that's by choice. I think that's by the fact that Ten Hag will say to Ronaldo, look, I know you want to leave. I know you're on the bench. Like, this isn't an ideal situation for us all, but we can't replace you if I sell you in January. So, I have to force you to stay. I generally think that could be the situation come January, which is sad, but that is obviously the Glazers doing. This is the Glazers doing, as someone says. Alice delivers the news yet again. Big up everybody in the chat. Everyone, let's go for 300 likes. Look, we've got 300 people watching right now, so if everyone can keep hitting that like button, it'd be really appreciated. So if everyone keeps hitting that like button, let's see if we can get 300 likes. And of course, guys, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you're new and want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, keep subscribing to Alice Talks Football. I go live every single evening on the channel at 6:30, keeping you up to date on all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more. I do watch-alongs, I do match reactions, I do match previews. I do a bit of everything on the channel, so do subscribe because I do want to get into my next story in a second as well. Can't see Cesco leaving for a year or two, says David Shaw. Yeah, I don't think we'll get Cesco next summer. I think Gakpo would be more realistic. I would like to see if we go for Osimhen of Napoli, or there's a couple good players at Napoli at the moment. Really enjoying Napoli play as well. And Cesco was definitely a Rangnick-like player. I think if Rangnick had stayed, and I still say this to this day, that United could have had a very different transfer window as well. Very different transfer window. And Chelsea will not take Ronaldo for free. Chelsea apparently want Ronaldo. Chelsea and Bowie wants Ronaldo, but it's up to if United sell him or not. And I think, Ronaldo to Chelsea, I think that's what Ronaldo wants to happen. I think that's what Chelsea wants to happen. I think Ten Hag's not bothered if Ronaldo goes. But then we're in a situation where Erik Ten Hag is like, fuck. The Glazers have basically said they ain't going to buy him in January, so I can't sell anyone. And I think that is the sad situation, is Ten Hag would want someone to come in January, doesn't want Ronaldo sitting on the bench, doesn't want Ronaldo unhappy at United. It seems to be getting worse and worse between Ten Hag and Ronaldo. But it's all about will the Glazers back him in January. My plans for Jan is Tommy and Phil Jones out and 2 youngsters on loan, and Cesco and Gakpo and Ajax players What are your predictions? I mean, that would be nice to happen, but very, very unlikely as well. Imagine if Portugal won the World Cup and Ronaldo decided to retire. I mean, I wouldn't blame him. And Ronaldo will go back to Sporting and finish his career as Big G. I think he wants to play in the top 5 leagues still. I think he really wanted to go to Bayern Munich, Ronaldo, but obviously that didn't happen. You sell Ronaldo in January, he goes on free in the summer. Yeah, I think the Glazers will try and stop him going on a free in the summer, but I think Ronaldo ultimately will go on a free in the summer. Oshmin or that Georgian winger will be good targets from Napoli. Napoli have got some absolute ballers at the moment. Really enjoying watching Napoli play at the moment. I will say this now. I watch the Premier League and that's it. But I think Serie A is really good at the moment. AC Milan, Napoli, they've got some good things coming up. Right now, Premier League best league in the world by a country mile. People say La Liga second because they've got Barca and Real Madrid. But I would much rather watch Serie A than La Liga. I just think that they're like, look at Napoli in the Champions League. I think they're really, really exciting at the moment. I won't lie, really exciting. Definitely a good up and coming project going on there. Pendy plays for Everton 2-1 if benched Man United, says Fat Check. I mean, we'll talk about the Everton game later on. We'll talk about the Everton game in tomorrow's show because tomorrow's show will be a match preview to United Everton. But I do think United will beat Everton. I do. I'm quite confident we will beat Everton. We can get into the team for the Everton game, but tomorrow's video we'll get into the team for the Everton game because obviously we'll have an idea of who's going to play in the Everton game as well. What's more likely to happen? Man United winning Europa League or ending up in top 4? I think winning Europa League. However, it depends on who drops down. I said this. Remember, Barcelona could drop down, Juventus could drop down, Sevilla could drop down, RB Leipzig could drop down, and Ajax could all drop down into the Europa League as things stand. And Inter will stay up actually. So it depends who drops down as well. And I'm going 3-1 United versus Everton. Tomorrow's show is going to be United versus Everton preview. We will get into the elite lineup for the game. We will get into all the United Everton news in tomorrow's show. So make sure you're subscribed if you're new. Today's show was more about Glazers out and the news going around. I do want to talk a bit about what Ten Hag's been saying. So Ten Hag said that obviously Donny's going to get his chance. Ten Hag did speak about the Everton game, saying we don't have many moments in training before the Everton game on Sunday, but we're going to have to be ready to fight and improve the intensity for the Everton game. And Ten Hag did say this. Actually, this is a lot of people were saying some stupid things about this, but this is what Ten Hag said. So let me get this up here for you guys. What is it about me copying and pasting and it doesn't want it to come up half the time? So Erik Ten Hag spoke about his pressing style, and he said it will not come overnight. It will also take more than weeks. It will take months. And people are saying, why is it going to take months for them to learn the pressing style? Look at the bunch of players we have. Look at some of the lazy twats in this squad. Erik Ten Hag is absolutely spot on. He has a pressing style. He has a style of play that he wants to integrate. But he's saying, remember, this isn't going to come overnight. These players are going to learn it. It's going to take months. And with the bunch of players we have, it's going to take months for them to learn how to press. You know, people are going, we're not playing this wonderful football. How come Erik Ten Hag was winning games 5-6-0 with Ajax against Dortmund and Man United can't win? Because Man United have players that aren't used to playing Erik Ten Hag's way. So Erik Ten Hag is playing more Ollie ball than Ten Hag ball at the moment because Ten Hag is slowly trying to adapt his way, teach the players to press and play Ten Hag's style of football. That is what's going on. And Erik Ten Hag even said this. And Erik Ten Hag spoke about a couple of things he wants to improve on. He's saying the players have got to learn to press and all of that. And, you know, it will take time. So I think we've also got to be patient with United. We've got to be patient with the Jim Ratcliffe takeover, see what happens. We've got to be patient in the sense of what's going to happen with Ten Hag, la-di-la-di-la, and all of that as well. We will talk about Martial and Rashford in tomorrow's show. We also will talk about Anthony in tomorrow's show and the Everton game more in tomorrow's show than today's show as well. But I think I will save a lot of that news for tomorrow's show as well. And any chance we play in midfield this time round, says Jonathan Kennedy. Any chance we play with a midfield this time around? Oh, yeah. I mean, look, the midfield's been invisible the last few games, but I'm assuming I think it could be Casemiro, McTominay, Eriksen. I think my prediction is Casemiro, McTominay, Eriksen in the midfield versus Everton. I don't think he's going to go back to Eriksen and Bruno. I think Bruno could be dropped because I like Bruno. You know, I'm a bit of a Bruno fangirl, but I actually did personally think myself that Man United did seem to get better once Bruno came off the pitch versus Omonia. And obviously, there's people in the fan base that hate Bruno. There's a lot of Man United fans that hate Bruno, that are Bruno out, get him out, fuck Bruno, he gives the ball away. I'm not one of those United fans. I've always been quite supportive of Bruno. I've always liked Bruno Fernandes, as you guys are aware of. I've always rated Bruno, but I would say, if I'm being honest, right now, United look a better side without Bruno in the squad. You know, when Bruno came off, we got better. When Martial came on, we got better. Right now, I think Martial's got to be playing striker. I think Anthony's got to be on the right with Rashford on the left. I think 10 has got to be Eriksen. I would like to try Sancho as a 10, but he needs to be dropped after that last performance. I'd probably play Casemiro and McTominay behind Eriksen. However, I would like to see Casemiro and Donny, once he's fit, behind Eriksen in that role. And then obviously what our best five is: Varane, Martinez, Dalot. I'd probably pick Luke Shaw over Malacia because I think as fullback balance, I think Dalot and Luke Shaw provide us that little bit more. Nothing against Malacia. It really annoys me that there are United fans out there right now basically going, oh, Malacia's shit after one poor game. He's 22. He's not shit. Let's calm down. But with Bruno Fernandes, I do really like Bruno, but right now United look like a better team when Bruno comes off. And this is coming from someone that is a bit of a Bruno fangirl. Big G says pressing is... Oh, what's going on with my computer here? What's going on? There we go. Pressing is not just closing the ball down. It's how it's applied positionally. That's how complex part that players need to get their head around. Exactly. Pressing's a lot more than, you know, a lot of people think. They're saying, why aren't we pressing? There's a lot more, especially with a bunch of players we have at United. You know, Ten Hag's got to work and really try and get them to press. The Wi-Fi is going to go laggy, so we'll put big screen back on. People say, Alice, why are you always sharing a screen the whole time? Because the image is pixelated half the time when I'm on big screen, because the Wi-Fi is crap as well. Casemiro and Fred will start. I think Casemiro and McTominay will start because, you know, Fred just ain't getting in the team at the moment as well, which is surprising because I thought Fred would be the one that thrived under Ten Hag, and I actually thought McTominay would be the one that struggled a bit as well. Marvin says that Gakpo is a very good young talent. I agree. Guys, look at the likes he's saying. Are we on 300 likes yet? Let's go for 300 likes. Come on as well. And of course, I just want to throw this out to everybody watching, everyone new. Remember, I go live on the channel every single evening around 6:30, 7 p.m. UK time, keeping you guys up to date on all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more. So if you do want to stay up to date on all the Manchester United news going around at the moment, everything you need to know on United, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Daily content. Tomorrow will be a live match preview where we'll actually talk about the United versus Everton lineup. How are United likely to line up versus Everton? We'll talk about that tomorrow. Sunday will obviously be a United versus Everton watch along, followed by match reaction. Daily news, daily transfer news, daily update news, daily shows on the channel, but of course all the other bits and pieces as well. So do subscribe. It's been out of 2, midfield was crazy against City. Midfield was crap against Man City, and 100% needs to change. And we have fit 300 likes, which is absolutely amazing as well. And uni or something, the Wi-Fi is so bad. I am, and that is why the Wi-Fi is so bad. The thing is, I say I pay, I don't, but we actually have like good, expensive Wi-Fi. It's just shit. It's just shit. So whenever I'm live, I have to go. If I go big screen, I look awful today as well, to be fair. So I don't mind being small screen. But it just lags a lot on big screen. And that means, to be fair, I think a lot of people say they like it with the big screen because then I can actually get what I'm talking about on the screen. Because sometimes the people be like, Alice, you're talking shit. Oh, Alice is making up something. I don't make up anything. Everything I say has come from the source. Now, the source I get it from, Twitter, whatever could have made it up. But I say what everyone else is reporting, and I always give my opinion on it. I say, what's been reported, my opinion on it, do I believe it or not? Could this happen? And then I might go and say, I remember something similar was reported a few weeks ago and link it together. You know, that's what I do. But look, I wanted to get one more thing up before I ended the live stream. And that is, I want to quickly talk about Anthony. I think Anthony is really showing good signs of potential at United. I think Anthony is really showing signs that he's going to be a good player under Ten Hag, and I think we're seeing signs of what Anthony can do. And I think we are playing a bit counter-attacking football, but I think once we play possession-based football, we're going to see a good player in Anthony. 2 goals in 2 Premier League games, you can't complain as well. But look, guys, I am going to end the video here, so please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, keep smashing the like button, keep subscribing. We've been live for an hour now, so big up everybody in the chat. Loads of good people in the chat today, loads of good chat. So big up everybody. Thanks for the support. I will be live tomorrow. There should be a video up about 11 a.m. tomorrow, UK time, 11:12 UK time, and then there will be a live stream either 7 p.m. tomorrow or a late live stream, depending on what I'm doing tomorrow. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. Smash the like on the way out. Subscribe if you're new. Watch alongs. Lots of content coming up. See you next time. Bye.